What is up, Tamers? It's your boy Red. Welcome back to Kizuna Games. This Friday releases the new set, Blast Ace, and with it comes a bunch of new cards. We're going to talk about what new cards are coming out for the archetypes and what you can do to include them in your current existing decks or build new decks if it's a brand new archetype to you. So let's get started. So of course, we got to start off with our favorite Digimon, of course, WarGreymon. So WarGreymon is one of the secret rares for this set, and if you're a WarGreymon player, it's probably your chase card for this set. This is a beautiful card with art done by Kenji Watanabe. So let's talk about this Digimon. It is a 12k DP Digimon, 12 play cost, 4 to evolve on a red level 5 or a level 5 with Greymon in its name. While you have a Tamer with Tai Kamiya in its name, your opponent has a Digimon with 1000 DP or more. One of your Agumon may Digivolve into this card in your hand for its Digivolution cost of 4, ignoring its Digivolution requirements, allowing us to essentially have a Warp Evolve capability off of our secret rare level 6, which is really nice for some comeback potential. It has, when Digivolving, this Digimon gains Raid for the turn, and then may attack, getting sort of a pseudo Blitz. And then when attacking, if you have a Tamer, this Digimon gains Security Tech +1 and Piercing for the turn. These are a lot of really nice effects to really go with that red aggression that WarGreymon has been known for. Raid, Security Tech +1, Piercing, you love to see it. Those are all effects we definitely want to have. But the level 6 is only the piece of the puzzle, of course. So what cards are we going to see to help support this archetype? So starting with our level 2s, we have a new Coromon in the set, BT14 Coron. Art also done by Kenji Watanabe. I love those dark lines on the edges. This has an inheritable of when a card is removed from an opponent's security stack, draw one card, adding a nice little draw engine to the Greymon deck. Now, we do have other options for this as well. If you wanted a different type of draw engine, we could also still look to the BT5 Coron, where when attacking, if this Digimon has Omnimon or Greymon in its name, draw one card. All in all, I have to say probably the BT5 Coron is still probably superior because it's a easier effect to hit and you just need to attack, not always necessarily as security. But the BT14 does add a nice little bit that the Digimon this is on does not have to be the one doing the attack. As long as a security stack is removed at all, you're triggering the draw cards, so you can trigger multiple draw cards if you have multiple of these out. Whereas for the BT5 Coron, only the Digimon that's attacking gets to draw one card. So they're both pretty good draw engines. Kind of just depends on what your playstyle is. Coron, BT5, you're able to hit whether you're attacking Digimon or security. Coromon's going to be all about checking the security. Alternatively, of course, we also still have BT9 Coron. While this Digimon has Agumon or Greymon in its traits, it gets plus 1000 DP. So maybe you don't want a draw engine, you want a little bit extra of a DP buff to make sure you're surviving those checks. This is another perfectly good option for you. Whether you want to go extra power or draw engine, I think I'm personally going more for the draw engine this time around, but all of them are really solid choices. For our level 3, you're going to want to pull BT14 Auman. So this is probably our newest, best level 3. It has a 3 play cost, 1000 DP, 0 evolve on a Coromon or a red level 2. While you have a Tamer with Tai Kamiya in its name, this Digimon may Digivolve into a Greymon in your hand without paying the cost. This is a start of main phase effect, so we can move that Greymon up. We can move that Agumon up and immediately Digivolve into a Greymon if we had opened up with a Tamer. Fantastic momentum card, allowing us to skip over those level 4 evolve costs. It has the inheritable of, while this Digimon has Greymon or Omnimon in its name, plus 2000 DP on your turn. Now, if you ask me, this is a solid replacement to the old promo Agumon, which is previously one of the best level 3s you could get for the deck. 1000 more DP, no main effect though, an inheritable of, while this Digimon has Greymon in its name, plus 2000 DP. So for a trade-off of 1000 less DP, which is really not that big of a deal in the case of 1000 and 2000, we have a Digimon that has the exact same inheritable, but also triggers for our level 7s, as well as getting the free evolve cost. There really is no question about this. This Agumon, which has been such a long-running stay in the deck, is now, I think, officially being booted out in favor of the new BT14 Auman. now the superior species. But what's a deck without searchers? So let's talk about what other level 3s you could put in this. Auman deck has had a lot of searchers over the years, but I think the best ones are pretty easy to nail down. You're going to want a copy of BT12 Auman. Digivolve 0 from a Coron or 1 from a black level 2, but we're probably running all Coron, so it's going to be 0. On play, reveal top 4 cards of your deck, add a Digimon card with Greymon or Omnimon in its name, and a Tai Kamiya to your hand. Place the rest at the bottom. Inheritable of all turns, a Greymon or Omnimon in its name get plus 1000 DP. So this is a top-notch searcher for us. Hits all of our Digimon pieces, as well as searches for our Tamer that we're probably going to be running. This is fantastic searcher card, plays for 3. You could also opt for the BT5 one to search for a Agumon search for a Greymon and Omnimon, but I think hitting the Tamer is just that much more significant for this deck. In addition to that, of course, you want to run Agumon X Antibody from BT9. This can Digivolve for 0 on a Coromon or any red egg, and it has an alternative cost of Digivolve for 0 on top of Agumon. It has on play or when Digivolving, reveal top 3 cards of your deck and add a Greymon or Omnimon to your hand, as well as a X Antibody option card among them to your hand. Place the rest at the bottom. So this is, of course, our 2-for-1 special here. You want to play the Agumon and then free evolve it for that double search power. Really strong for all Greymon decks. I don't think there's a question of this unless you're running black base. We're talking about just red base today, but if you're running red base, this really is, I think, your definite level 3s. I wouldn't recommend really running anything else if we're talking about a WarGreymon deck. The BT14 love don't stop. We also got ourselves a new Greymon. Greymon is 2 evolve on a red level 3 or a level 3 with Agumon in its name. When attacking, this Digimon gets plus 2000 DP for the turn, and you have a Tamer Tie in its name, trigger, gain 1 memory. At plus 5000 DP to start, plus another 2000, plus whatever Agumon inheritables you got, this thing's swinging for some pretty high DPs right out of the gate, and if we're triggering with that earlier Agumon, you get that free evolution, you're hitting this thing immediately. While this Digimon has Greymon or Omnimon's name, it gains plus 2000 DP. I like to think this is once again a nice upgrade to the BT5 archetype. BT5 Greymon sees some similar capabilities here before having the turbo option of, as long as it's Digivolving onto an Agumon, gain 1 memory. And this still holds true as something you can play with the new Agumon. Since it's a free evolve, you can just go +1 for the gain the memory. You can also, of course, go +1 for the gain memory off this Greymon. I think both of these Greymons add a nice turbo option to the deck, so if you're going to do a turbo build, you could really slot in both of these. Both BT5 and BT14 add some nice stuff, and they both have the plus 2000 heritable, which is really solid. All in all, these are 2 very similar but welcome additions to the deck, depending on you want the Digivolve gain memory or you want the extra DP boost and when attacking gain memory. For other level 4s to consider running, let's not forget the original starter deck Greymon. 2 evolve, inheritable of security attack +1, lovely generic effect that gives this deck extra aggression no matter what. This is a mainstay in all Greymon decks that will be forever until we see another security attack +1. It's just so generically good being able to check extra security. It almost always finds itself a place in Greymon decks somewhere unless you're running the security plus from other sources. Greymon decks always want to be checking the extra security whenever they can. But of course, we don't have to wait for the level 5 to get those extra checks. We can also look to an interesting choice, the old promo Greymon. You saw this a lot with the Agumon builds of BT6. And I think with the new Warping Evolve effects, you can definitely see a expected comeback of this card. Your turn, while this has an Agumon and his Digivolution cards, gains security attack +1. And then when we add this with the free evolve level 3 Agumon, we can get into this without paying its cost and immediately start checking those double security breaks, which is fantastic. I think you're going to see a lot of this card coming up. For protection, of course, a must-have is the Greymon X Antibody. I think regardless of whatever Greymon build you play, this is a must-have card in any Greymon deck. Nowadays, Deletion is so easily accessible. It's so rare for Digimon stacks to survive on board for more than a turn, especially if you're going to have any purple players running around. They just delete things by accident. All turns when this Digimon has Greymon or Omnimon in its name, an effect would delete or return this card to hand or deck. You may trash 2 cards of the same level in this Digimon's Digivolution sources to prevent it from leaving play. This allows us to have staying power with our single stack builds, allowing those Greymons to stay in the game and maintain pressure. Alternatively, we can also run R1 of Greymon X antibody from BT11. Now this one is a virus type instead of a vaccine type. That can make some differences that we'll talk about later. But it also has a Digivolve 0 from Greymon, a painful Digivolve 3 cost on top of a level 3 though. This has the wonderful ability though of your turn, when this Digimon would Digivolve into a card with Greymon in its name, reduce the cost by 1 for each of that card's colors. This allows us to really cheap out some turbo ones depending on what level 5s you run, or at least reduce the cost a lot. You see this definitely in the Black War builds with their hefty Digivolve costs, but Red can utilize this as well. It has the inheritable similar to this of when this Digimon has Greymon on its name, would it be deleted or returned to hand or deck, you can place one X antibody option card from your Digivolution sources to the bottom of the deck to prevent leaving play. In some cases, this can be a stronger protection effect, and that you only need to remove one card, but it can also be weaker in some cases since it is only one card. Once that one card is gone, your protection is over, whereas Greymon X, you can have multiple same level sources. So the levels of protection can really vary, and sometimes these cards can swap over which one's better in the situation. You can definitely look at running both. Greymon X you can only run one of at this time, so you could fill in the remaining 3 with Greymon X, or change it up however you want. I don't think there is a wrong answer, but it can really come down to what the rest of your deck is looking like. Our new level 5 is the Metal Greymon Ace. Ace is a mechanic introduced sort of in this set, but also in the starter decks that came before. This is a 4 hard drop Metal Greymon. Fantastic ability, 8000 DP. Can also Digivolve for 3 on a level 4 with Greymon in its name or any red Digimon. It has the Blast Digivolve effect that all Aces do, that when an opponent attacks, you may Digivolve this on top of a level 4 for 0 cost, allowing you to activate its unplay on when Digivolving. Delete one of your opponent's Digimon with 6000 DP or less. Really strong deletion effect for this level 5, especially considering that it can come out of nowhere. You can also just hard play it for 4 on your first or second turn. Really, spending 4 memory to delete something is not a bad move at all. This, of course, comes with a weakness that all Ace cards do. For its powerful abilities and low play cost, we are looking at the Overflow of 3. This card would be removed from the battle area or under a card to another area, lose 3 memory. So whether we lose this thing in our sources, or the Digimon is deleted outright, the Digimon on top of it's deleted outright, losing 3 memory. And there's no way to counteract that at this time. Greymon X's ability to protect ourselves can come in clutch to prevent this from happening, but of course if we have to trash this card to prevent that deletion, we are still losing the 3 memory. It can be really painful sometimes, so use this card with caution. Now I think it's highly debatable whether this card will actually see competitive play or not. I love it, I think it's a fantastic card, but deleting only a 6000 DP and having such a negative effect of Overflow 3 can definitely be a detriment, especially with how strong removal is in modern Digimon. You might look to instead get a more reliable level 5. We have some options. We of course have the tried and true BT12 Metal Greymon. This can Digivolve for 3 on top of a level 4 with Greymon in its name. This has Raid, so that when we attack, we may switch the target to an unsuspended Digimon with the highest DP. All turns, when a tag target is switched, you may play one black or red tamer for its play cost, with a play cost of 4 or less from your hand without paying the cost. And it has the inheritable of, while this Digimon has Greymon or Omnimon in its name, it gains Piercing. I do believe this is the de facto best level 5 for Greymon decks, especially if you're running just red. I think having the Piercing and the Raid ability and the ability to play free tamers makes this one of the best level 5s for the Greymon deck, period. Plus, with the Virus Greymon X, because it's 2 colors for a 3 evolve, that means we're evolving for 1 if we get that stack right. That can be really detrimental to an opponent who has no way to prevent you from evolving for 1. And if your opponent's not careful, they of course provide you with a free raid target to get the free tamer and maybe even get some piercing swings in. Really strong card. There are other Metal Greymons that you could run. I do not recommend them over this one though. This is probably the only one I would actually recommend is a must-have. But there are cards we can run with this to upgrade it. We of course have Metal Greymon Alterus mode. Metal Greymon Alterus mode is Digivolve for 0 on a Metal Greymon or 3 from a red level 4. When this The name of this card is also treated as a Metal Greymon, very important for the next card. When Digivolving, if you have a Tamer in play, delete one of your opponent's Digimon with 5,000 DP or less. Quite another nice deletion effect. And it has the inheritable, same as Greymon X, of removing two same level sources to prevent deletion or bouncing to hand or deck, give you some more deletion protection in the long run. And we can go for the triple here, Digivolving again into Metal Greymon X Antibody. This can Digivolve for 3 from a red level 4, or from 0 from a Metal Greymon, which this is also treated as 1. This Digimon gains Security Attack +1 until the end of your opponent's turn. When this Digimon has Metal Greymon or X Antibody in Digivolution cards, this Digimon gets plus 3,000 DP. So we're getting extra checks, extra DP, staying to opponent's next turn, making it really hard to counterattack them. This can be a really devastating combo if you can stack all of them together, or if you want to go raid into Metal Greymon X to get that piercing check as well. Really great early aggression. Fantastic combo. Arguably, these are definitely the best level 5s for the red deck. Now, we already talked about, of course, the Secret Rare Good Boy, the level 6, but what are some other level 6s we could run in this deck? I think by far the best example is probably BT12 WarGreymon. Digivolve 3 from a level 5 Metal Greymon in its name. It has Raid, allowing us to attack unsuspended Digimon with the highest DP. And then when Digivolving until the end of your opponent's turn, this Digimon gets plus 3,000 DP and gains Reboot. And when attack target is switched, unsuspend this Digimon. So if we use this with the Piercing Metal Gray, we can swing through 2 of our opponent's unsuspended Digimon thanks to Raid and the unsuspend effect. And Metal Greymon will give this guy Piercing, allowing us to check the security anyways. If we had Metal Greymon underneath this, that's 4 security. If we have any more security +1s from any of the other effects, we're pretty much clearing through all the security if they left us a raid target. Really devastating card. And if we're playing a defensive build, such as is a black-red card, we can also play blocker abilities, allowing this thing to be a double blocker because it can block, and because attack target is switched, it will unsuspend, allowing itself to block again. An extra 3,000 DP and Reboot will make sure it's nice and sturdy for your opponent's next turn. Alternatively, we can also look to the starter deck. WarGreymon Ace, Digivolve 3 from a level 5 with Greymon in its name. Since it is an ace, it does have the Blast Digivolve effect, allowing it to evolve on your opponent's turn if they attack and you have a level 5 on field. It has Blocker naturally, allowing it to stop opponents' attacks in their tracks, and all turns when a card is removed from a security stack, you may unsuspend this Digimon. That can be your security stack or your opponent's security stack. So not as nice of an unsuspend effect as this WarGreymon, since you need to still have security to get the double blocker. But if you're attacking, you're guaranteed to get the double attack as long as you're removing some opponent's security. It is a 6 play cost, so not a bad thing to drop either, but be wary of its overflow effect of losing 4 memory if this card is removed from play. Definitely a risky card to play, but one that can give you a lot of good wins if played right. The 4th level 6, though, and probably one that can go on any of these, would be WarGreymon X from BT9. This is a strong card. Can Digivolve 1 from a WarGreymon, or 4 from a red level 5. All turns, when a card is removed from your opponent's security stack, gain 1 memory, and end of attack if WarGreymon or X Antibody is in this Digimon's Digivolution cards. Delete when your opponent's Digimon delete when your opponent's Digimon with DP less than or equal to this Digimon's DP. And since WarGreymon cards are almost guaranteed to have the highest DP on the field, we're pretty much deleting whatever we want. And because a memory is removed for each security card removed, and we usually have security +1, +2, +3, we're probably getting back all that memory we spent evolving into this thing in the first place. Really strong card, and a wonderful finisher piece to go on top of any of these WarGreymons. Lastly, for level 7s, you'd be hard-pressed to find too many more options other than Omnimon. My particular favorite is the BT5 Omnimon. It is a 4 to evolve on a red level 6. When Digivolving Blitz and when Digivolving Unsuspend, you can choose which order to activate those effects in. So you can unsuspend and then blitz, or you can blitz and then unsuspend. Really great card. When Digivolving, unsuspend this Digimon. If an opponent's effect would delete this Digimon or return it to owner's hand or deck, you may prevent it from leaving play by trashing a level 6 Digimon in the Digivolution cards. And because this can only Digivolve on a red, you gotta be careful with the WarGreymon X, as that is just a black card. You definitely need the WarGreymon X to go into to still have the finisher piece here. but this is the tried and true finisher piece. Once you clear out all security, play Omni for game, unsuspend, and swing directly. There's also 2 Omnimon X's running around that you could opt for in addition to or instead of. You have the BT5 Omnimon X that can stop attacks, and you have the newer Omnimon X that can bottom deck Digimon as well as trash a security when attacking. Those are both really good options there. I'm currently just favoring the one Omni for Blitz things and letting my level 6s do all the work. But again, there's no wrong answer here in how you want to build it. For support, we have new Tai Kamiya from BT14. This is a 3-drop, start of your main phase. One of your Digimon's vaccine traits gets plus 2000 DP for the turn. And when a card is removed from your opponent's security stack, by suspending this tamer, gain 1 memory. I love how generic this card is. It can go in really any red deck or anything running vaccines, really. This is a fantastic card. I love this. You can put this in a yellow deck, technically, if you wanted. Now, whether or not this tie will see major play going forward, I think is debatable. While its DP gain and memory gain is pretty strong, there are also other strong contenders for tie depending on the type of deck you're playing. We also have BT12 Tie. BT12 Tie is 3 also to drop. Start your main phase on play. One of your Digimon Auman or Greymon in its name get plus 1000 DP and blocker if you want to go for more of a defensive build. It also has a nice turbo service option of when one of your Digimon digivolves into a Greymon or Omnimon, suspend this to gain 1 memory. A couple of these and you'll really be zooming while keeping up your defenses. Another card to go with that probably is BT15 Tie. Start your turn. If you have 2 or fewer memory, set it to 3. And when target is switched, by suspending this tamer, draw 1 card, and one of your Digimon gets plus 2000 DP for the turn. This is a wonderful companion to go with a blocker-based Greymon deck, allowing the block and raid effects to give you an extra 2000 DP, as well as draw a card, really good engine card. But if you're going to go for the tried and true red aggressive, can't forget the old-fashioned BT1 Tie, also a memory setter for the red deck here. If you have 2 or less memory, set your memory to 3. And all your Digimon with 4 or more Digivolution cards gain security attack plus 1. Really strong card. Now, I really do find option cards to be one of the best ways a deck has to personalize itself. And we have some new option cards We have some new option cards, starting with, of course, the Dragon of Courage. 4 cost to play. While you have a tamer with Tai Kamiya in its name, you may ignore this card's color requirements by placing 1 Greymon and 1 Metal Greymon from your trash as one of your Agumon's bottom Digivolution cards. That Digimon may digivolve into WarGreymon in your hand without paying the cost, ignoring its Digivolution requirements. This is essentially another workaround to the secret rare WarGreymon. It's a little bit different since you don't need to have your opponent having a big Digimon. You just need your pieces in trash, so it's a little less reliant on what your opponent's doing. But all in all, still another option for the Warp Evolving, especially if you don't have the new WarGreymon or you don't want to pull it, can't pull it, whatever the reason is. This is another option. You could evolve into any WarGreymon. As a security effect, you may play an Agumon from your hand or trash without paying the cost, and then add this card to your hand, allowing us to set up perfectly for that effect. There is also this new Mega Flame card, 4 cost to play. Delete one of your opponent's Digimon with 6000 DP or less, and if you have a Greymon in its name, delete one of your opponent's Digimon with the lowest DP instead. Really nice card if you're playing against another single stack deck. As long as you have a Greymon, like maybe you free evolve into one, you can just hard drop this for 4 and delete any of your opponent's Digimon, as long as it's just the one. It targets the lowest DP, so, it'd be unfortunate if all they had was a lone Quartzmon on the field, and you deleted it for 4 cost. And as a promo for this set, of course, we have the new training cards. For red, we have the Offensive Training. This is a 2-drop. Reveal top 2 cards of your deck. Add 1 red card among them to your hand, so you can grab option cards and tamers now. Return the rest to the bottom and place this card in the battle area. And when you're ready, you can activate its delay effect. Digivolve one of your Digimon, reducing the cost by 2. You do have to Digivolve right away as soon as you use this, so you cannot stack them. But it's a nice turbo option there. Agumon can Digivolve into Greymon for free, and then we can use this to get into Greymon for 1 or less. Fantastic card. You'll definitely see a lot of these running around. People you're running these at 4 ofs, maybe 2 and 2 memory boost. You definitely got to pick up a few of these, whatever color you play. And of course, there's some other option cards you could run. You could run the Gravity Crush from BT1. This thing's been seeing a lot of play lately. 0 cost, gain 2 memory, and at the end of the turn, lose 2 memory. A good way to kind of steal back some turns out of nowhere. You have Gaia Force, of course, a tried and true classic. 8 cost, but if checking security or hard played, delete one of your opponent's Digimon. It's hard to get better than that. Just delete a Digimon. We, of course, have Crimson Blaze. You have things like Digipolice and Lugabon playing Digimon by effects, and we don't want that. So reduce the memory cost of this card played by your hand for 1 for each opponent's Digimon. Delete all your opponent's Digimon with 6,000 DP or less, and your opponent cannot play Digimon by effects until the end of their next turn. So we can really halt Lugabon and D Brigade decks from preventing their mass board spamming. Really good card. You probably might see this come back up a lot. There's, of course, the Try and True Red Memory Boost. Consider running this alongside your Training Boost if you want some more search. Reveal top 4 cards of your deck. Add 1 red Digimon card among them to your hand. Place the rest at the bottom. And this will hang on the field until you use the delay effect to gain 2 memory. And, of course, we can't forget the old favorite, Hades Force. A lot of people hate this card. 7 costs. You need a red and black on the field. But if you would use this and you have X Antibody option card in your traits, you get to reduce the cost by 2, so playing it for 5. You choose any number of opponent's Digimon and or Tamers whose combined play costs are equal to or less than of one of your Greymon cards, and then delete all those cards. And then that Greymon may attack. So for running the RED WarGrey or running Black WarGrey cards, those Digimon have a 12 play cost, so we can delete 12 play costs worth of Tamers and Digimon on the field. Potentially for 5 memory, really strong card, and in some ways you can just shut down hunters or cross decks if you hit them at the wrong time with this. Fantastic card. And of course, to go with that, of course, is the X Antibody option card, white option card you can use to, when attacking, evolve into an X Antibody Digimon. Another fantastic card, especially if we're running Greymon X pieces in the deck. One last shout out to consider, but we won't go too far into it today. Consider maybe rebuilding a Agumon Bond of Bravery deck from BT6 with the new Tamer and the new Warp Evolving Agumon support. A lot of this stuff is really reminiscent of the old BT6 set, so we could definitely see coming back into play. And we will see, at least for the first week coming into play, people will definitely be trying to bring back the Bond of Bravery deck. This, if you don't remember, is a Warp Evolving deck utilizing an Agumon of some kind, preferably even this one, from BT6, with the BT6 Tie. You can trust 2 of your security, allowing an Agumon to Warp Digivolve into the level 7. So now we have Warp Evolving to level 7, Warp Evolving to level 6, Free Evolve to level 4. There's all kinds of turbo options that might see some really intricate Agumon Rushdown decks re-enter the game here. I think it'd definitely be interesting to see what people come up with. I myself am going to play around with it, so we'll see. Alright guys, so that's the review of the new WarGreymon set we have coming out in BT14, as well as some cards you could look at for upgrading your BT14 WarGreymon deck. Stay tuned for when we do a deck profile with our first place win when it gets time for those stored tournaments to roll around. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe, and stay tuned for future Digimon content, and I'll catch you guys next time.